Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, Meseches Chulin Daf Zayin. We are holding 9 lines from the top of the Amud and picking up right in the middle of the story where we learned that Rebbe HaKadosh ruled that the town of Beis Sha'an, which had been considered as part of Eretz Yisrael proper, was really outside its borders and was exempt from Truma and Maser, so anything growing there can be eaten without the separation of Truma and Maser. And this was based on an Edus testimony by Rabbi Yeshua ben Zerud, who testified that he observed Rabbi Meir consuming an Olesh al Yorak, a leaf of greenery, a piece of vegetable that grew in that location without doing Truma and Maser. Apparently, it was considered outside the actual boundary of Eretz Yisrael and was exempt from Truma and Maser. Now the one is going to ask Akash, how could you suggest that it was outside Eretz Yisrael? Maskef Rabbi Yehuda. So he asked, he was Rabbi Yehuda, Brei Rabbi Shimon Paza, Umikol Amad Amar. Can it be so that anybody is of the opinion that the Beis Sha'an is really outside Eretz Yisrael, Lav Eretz Yisrael? Leave a pasuk back in Sefer Shoftim where they conquered the land of Eretz Yisrael, where it's clearly mentioned as part of Eretz Yisrael. Menashe as Beis Sha'an has been a sale, so Menashe failed to conquer Beis Sha'an, which was really part of his territory within Eretz Yisrael. So clearly it was part of Eretz Yisrael. How could we say it wasn't? Ishta Mitzeh. So the one who asked this question had forgotten. Hada Amar Reb Shimon Yaakov Mishum, the name of Elazar Sham, who said the name of Mishum Elazar Mishabur. True, originally it was part, but then it wasn't. There were many cities that were conquered initially. Kavsham Oil Mitzrayim, the Jews when they left Mitzrayim, meaning at the first arrival of Eretz Yisrael, they conquered these areas and they were now sanctified and considered part of Kedushas Eretz Yisrael regarding all these halachis. But later on, they were not recaptured upon that second, entry when they returned back to Eretz Yisrael after we left into exile, Golos Nebuchadnezzar, Golos Baba, when they returned V'loi Kavsham. But they were not captured by the Oili Baba, those who ascended from Bavel. And we are as of the opinion that Kedusha Rishayna, although initially those areas were sanctified, but that Kedusha was not a permanent Kedusha, it was contingent upon the presence of our nation within the land. Once they left, that Kedusha expired. And unless it was recaptured and reincorporated and re-sanctified, it did not attain Kedusha Eretz Yisrael. Such was the status of Beis Sha'an. Kedusha Rishayna Kitchel Shata was sanctified for its time while our nation was present. V'lo Kitchel It was not Kaddish for all time. And actually, they deliberately left it out of the fold. They left this town to be outside Kedusha, outside the boundary. Why? In order to give the poor of Eretz Yisrael where to take their sustenance from on the Shemitah year, where there was nothing growing in Eretz Yisrael. They couldn't farm the fields on Shemitah, but this area, which was right outside, was left out of Kedusha, so that could be farmed, it could be cultivated, which now allowed for the poor in Eretz Yisrael to go over there and take their fare, their leket and shikha and everything else. They left them out. Kadeshi Yismchu Alein Ani and Bashvias. In the 7th year, the poor can rely on that area and take from there. Amalei Rabbi Yirmiyah Rabbi Zera. I have a question on this whole episode. This is based on observing Rabbi Meir, who consumed this leaf. For Rabbi Meir, he's just eating a leaf. A leaf is just a snack. It's an informal consumption, which is not even chayiv in Truma and Maser. Amalei, he said, no, it wasn't just a loose leaf. Me'aguda achle, he picked it out of a bundle, and once it was bundled, that material now attains finality. It's considered a processed material, which in which case it's chayiv in Truma and Maser, and you can't even snack from it. It's not. In fact, we have the Mishnah Yora Kanega, greening, which is meant to be, which is slated for bundling. Mishiyaga, once it's bundled, it achieves the status of Truma and Maser obligation, and you can't even snack from it. Okay, perhaps fine. Rameir ate it. Maybe he wasn't mindful. He just overlooked the Maser obligation. Oh, you can't say that. Hashta, look. Behemten shat tzadikim, even animals of tzadikim, Hashem protects from improper consumption of food. Maybe Hashem would not allow even an animal belonging to a tzaddik to consume non-kosher food, as we're going to see coming up soon in the Gemara. Certainly the tzaddik himself will be protected. Tzaddikim atzman, the tzaddik itself, the owner of the animal, the koshken, of course, it goes without saying. So you can't even suggest that Rameh ate something which was improper. Fine. Perhaps it was chayev, but he did maser from a different place. Before he picked up this leaf, he had already exempted it. He had another, vegetable nearby, same type, and he was mitzvah. He did truma on that on account of this, rendering this thing fully permissible. The answer is, you're not really supposed to do that from a distance. Well, the chaverim, trusted and righteous, reliable people are not meant to be doing this. They're not suspected of doing truma from a distance, Rashi explains, because you never know, maybe it went missing and whatever. So you want to make sure that they're both here, in front of you, nearby, before you do a truma on one on account of the other. It's unlikely that he did it this way, and chances are he did not do it. Rather, he just approached this leaf and he ate it. But still, maybe it was not exempt. He did master in a different way. Maybe he did it in his mind. Mentally, he designated a portion of this vegetable in a way that it wasn't really so noticeable, so you couldn't tell. But really, it was done. He placed his eyes on this side, so mentally he designated this corner for the truma. And he ate the other side. So what's the whole proof? Amar Leis, he says like this. This wasn't just a random story that somebody read in an unreliable, medium. Chazi man, take a look. Man Gavra Rabba, who's the great man? Who's testifying on him? Meaning, who's the one presenting the story? Who's Rabbi Shimon Zirud? A great man. Certainly he would have researched his facts and confirmed the circumstance before testifying and promoting and announcing that Rameir ate without maser. He says that that's the way it was. And that proves that it was exempt. Okay, we referenced an animal that was protected from non-kosher material. So what was the story behind that story? My behemtan shel tzadikim. Oh, the Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair, he had an animal. And he was on the way, have a causal, he was on the road, traveling with Fidyan Shvim to go make an effort to redeem a captive. On the way to a mitzvah. Problem is, he encountered a river, a gushing river, Paga Bay. He encountered Biginoi. The name of the river was Ginoi Nahara, the river Ginoi. Got to get through. Hamrleis, he turns to the river. Ginoi, he says, Mr. Ginoi. Tesis says, either he was addressing the Sar, Shalyam, the spirit behind the river, or he was actually just contemplating all this in his heart and he was having a conversation. Either way, there was a conversation going on. Ginoi, Mr. Ginoi, let's go, we got to get through. Chaloik limemecha, split your waters for me. Ve'ever bachan, I could to allow me passage. Amalei, so Mr. Ginoi was not impressed. He says, yeah, I understand what you're doing is important, but I also have a job to do. Rashi brings the pasuk, all the rivers and all the brooks and the rivers, everything's heading out to sea. That's their job, to carry out, implement the water cycle system, right? So I have a job to do as well. I can't just, I'm busy. Look, you, Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair, you're on the way to fulfilling the will of your master. And so am I. I'm also fulfilling the will of my maker. And I have an advantage over you. You, who says you're going to be successful? I mean, you're making an effort. You're making the ishtadlus to go redeem the captive. Who says you're going to be successful? Suffolk. There's a doubt. Oh, you said you'll be successful in your mission. Well, just as much suffix that you're not. But I am certainly carrying out my mission. Ani v'adayoise. So Pinchas ben Yair wasn't going to take no for an answer. He says, listen, either you're split or you dry up. If you don't split your waters for me, I'm going to decree upon you, you'll never see another drop of water. So he split and he allowed him through. Interesting, the Mepharshim explained what the whole back and forth was. Like that the river was basically saying like this. You know, it's all about effort. I mean, a person never knows, right? A person doesn't know if he'll be successful in any endeavor, right? It's just that a person is meant to do what he can do, whatever is in his ability, right? And that's what you get paid for, so to speak. That's your job. Guess what? You're stuck at the river. That's your effort. Why would I split for you? And, okay, so let's say you concede in terms of the effort. So you're still saying, well, I still have something to do because I have to do the pinning stream. On that, you don't know if you'll be successful. So that you can't use as a card against me. So the opposite, I'm certainly fulfilling my mission. You, in terms of outcome and result and success, it's an unknown. So in terms of effort, you've done your effort. You've done whatever is within your ability to do. You're stuck at the river, so that's it. You did your part. Why should I split? In terms of achieving the end result, you don't know. So what was the reply? Says the Maharsha, Rav Pinchas replied, he says, look, but still, what I'm trying to do is an act of bechira, of choice. I'm carrying out my free will, which is on a much higher level of fulfillment than a river that's merely flowing by way of the laws of nature, without bechira. So he says the action of a Baal Bechira stands higher than the action of a non-Baal Bechira, and therefore I get precedence, I get priority. Split up, and he conceded. Interesting, the Chidah says, so why did the river get impressed? Just because he was threatening him not, I mean, why? So I got to do it after. So he says that the river simply made a calculation. He says, look, fine, let me, it's worth it, right? To sacrifice a couple of minutes and to salvage the rest of my career and do Ratzon Hashem for years and years to come. It's like the Gemara in Shabbos, right? We Machal Shabbos Achas, right? Person has Pikuach Nefesh issue. You forego one Shabbos to salvage the future Shabbosim where this person will live, right? And right, so this temporary suspension, so to speak, overriding of Shabbos, has a payoff that the person now will survive and be able to fulfill many more Shabbosim. So the net gain isn't the positive. So here as well. So okay, we split rather than disappearing. Okay, Chalak Lei. So he allowed him through. Havo Gavra, but there was another fellow right there, a Jewish man, the Havodari, who was carrying a load, Chiti Lepischa, kernels of wheat, intended for the baking of the matzah. So he was doing a mitzvah because he was guarding it from becoming chametz, right? Shmartem es hamatzos. So Rav Pinchas tells the river, hold it, we're not done yet. You got to split for him too. Amalei, he says, Chalek le nami lahai, split for him as well. The mitzvah also, he's doing a mitzvah as well. Chalek le, so the river complied. Oh, we're not done yet. Hava Utai, there was this guy, this Arab merchant traveling behind with Lav Badai, who was accompanying them on the trip. Amalei, so again, he addresses the river, Chalek le nami lahai, let him through as well. Delay lema, so that we don't make a chilul Hashem, so that the travel mate doesn't complain that we abandon him. He shouldn't say, Kach oisim livnei levay, this is how they treat their travel mates. Chalak leis, he split for him as well. Amar Rabbi Yosef, wow, 3 times. Kriyas Hamsav, Kama nafesh gavra Moshe v'shitin rivan. How much greater is our Pinchas Meir than Moshe Rabbeinu on the 600,000 Jews? Dilu asam chad zimna, there was only a one-time split. One time, v'achat las zimna, here 3. Ask the Gemara, who says it was 3? Maybe it just stayed open for all 3. Maybe here as well, chad zimna was just one event. And it just stayed open. Stayed split for them all to go through. Eli, you're right, but at least he's on equal turf. Kim Moshe is like Moshe V'shit and Rivan in the 600,000. Interesting that I think it was the Rechaim that pointed out that we don't find such a big deal made of this story. I mean, you find Kriyas Yamsuf, it's like a major event, and here we have in the Gemara one story, and we have many other stories where they totally overrode the laws of nature in very extreme ways. He says, why isn't that noted? As watershed events in histories, he says it's not a big deal anymore. After Matan Torah, when a person is imbued with the holiness of Torah, which empowers him to rise above nature. It's no chiddush, it's no novelty. Of course, it's a very predictable phenomenon that a person who's on such a high level, saturated with the Kedushas HaTorah, can do these things. Not a big deal. The chiddush was before Matan Torah. And even then, we were given this ability and these things happened. That was the chiddush of Kriyas Amsif. Okay, so he's on the way to do Pidyon Shvuim. And he stops off at this road stop, at this guest house. Ikla, he encountered who spies at this guest house. Okay. So they invited him in. People over here, and the animals this way. And they served the sari, barley, lechamre, for his donkey. But he didn't want to eat. We turned to Amud Beis. Chaftinu, so the caretakers figured it must be, something wrong. They sifted it again. He wasn't eating. Nakrinu, they went and manually picked out any, inedibles. Still the donkey would stubbornly not eat. They went to complain to the owner, look, a strange animal, after such a trip, he must be starved, he's not eating. Amrli says, it's not about the physical quality, it's the spiritual impediment that's getting in the way. Perhaps he purchased the barley from the market, from the Amorit, it's Demai. Perhaps he didn't do the maser. My animal only eats certified kosher food. Asrinu, okay, they took the meiser off, Ba'achal, and he ate. Amar, Pinchas explained to them, he says, Aniyazu, this poor creature, is on her way to fulfilling Hashem's ratzon, doing a mitzvah. Atem, ma'achil, you're going to feed it forbidden foods, tevel? Ask the Gemara. Well, in actuality, it wasn't really obligated in this case because it was food for an animal. It's not real tevel, it's demai. Now, demai, Rashi points out, is really minat Torah. Okay, most Ami Ha'aretz would fulfill their obligations. It was presumed to be kosher minat Torah. The Chacham were concerned about a very common, common minority, miut hamatzi, that did not fulfill their obligations. So they enacted the halacha of demai, but it was limited to only food meant to be consumed by humans. They weren't machmer to this extent to include even animal feed or other types of things. So here, why was it chayiv? It was meant for animal feed. We mechayiv atam have a mishnah. Lekech, he buys from the market lazera for seeding, for planting, lebehemo to feed an animal, flour to treat the hides and the hide production process. V'shem laner, oil for Chanukah. V'shem also was hakelim, or oil to smear on the kelim, to treat, to condition the kelim. These are not meant for human consumption. There's no issue of demai. So what's the issue? Hasam. But haven't we learned over there a pshat? When do we say animal feed is exempt? Ella, initially it was purchased for animal feed, so never got that obligation. Let's say it was purchased for human consumption, and then it was diverted for animal use. Once it was obligated, it stays obligated. He changed to use it for behemah chayiv l'asa. He has to take off ma'aser. In fact, we have a brayso which supports this distinction. He buys produce for person consumption and then diverts it for animal feed. You can't do that. He can't feed his animal or his friend's animal until he does the maser. Okay, so that explains the episode. Shama Rebbe, so Rebbe HaKadosh heard that Pinchas was in the area. He went out to greet him, to invite him for lunch. Amar he says, if it's your will, so that's like, eat by me, I'll be well and happy. Amar hey, so Pinchas says, sure. Rebbe's face lit up. He was excited that his guest was accepting his invitation. Amar he says, well, you must be so excited about. What are you so surprised? Of course, why wouldn't I eat by you? You think I'm a hermit? You think I'm isolationist? Shemudar Hanami Yisrael Ani have a neder to refrain from benefiting from a Jew? I mean, why would you think that? What do you think? But the truth is, there was some truth to it. He was not known to accept invitations, but there's a reason for it, which doesn't apply in your case. He says, Yisrael Kedoshim Heim. Really, Jews are holy and they're worthy of me accepting their food. But you know what? I don't want to impose on people. There are all kinds of situations. It's complicated. Yesh Roitz, sometimes a person really wants to invite Viet Langley. He doesn't have the ability, and he's doing it out of shame, out of social, expectations. Then you have a fellow who really could, but he's not interested. And he just feels pressure to do it. Uksiv, and the pasuk actually warns against partaking in this type of case. Al tilcham, lashon of lechem. Don't share a meal. Es lechem ra'ayin. This fellow has stingy-eyed. Don't have his food. He tells you, come, eat and drink. But he wishes you wouldn't take him up on his invitation. His heart is not with you. So it's better to avoid. But this doesn't apply to you. You want and you have the ability. You're a rich man. V'ata, right? So you want to have me. You have the ability to do so. So I'll be more than happy. But not right now. I'm on the road. I'm rushing to do the mitzvah. Mia still. Hashta now misarhivna. I'm rushing. But the mitzvah katarachim involved in a mitzvah effort. You know what? On my way back, I'll stop off by you for a meal. Ki adrana sinima. I'll come back on my way back. Aylan gabacha going to you. Okay, when he came back, Isrami kept his word. Isrami al Pischa, so he came to his house, and so happens that he entered this entranceway where there were these white mules standing. The Havukaiman be Kudnaisa was standing at Kudnaisa. These mules, Chivrasa, these white mules with these white hooves. He wasn't very impressed. These are wild animals. Omar, she says, I'm not going to go into this house. Malach Hamavis. He called him a Malach Hamavis. These things are wild. In this person's home, and you expect me to go in there and share a meal? But yes, that's like, okay, the word was passed on to the host, to Rebbe, Shama Rebbe. He went out to greet him, to have a discussion with him. Amalek's Rebbe says, okay, I'll take you, don't worry, I'll get rid of them. I'll sell them away. Amalek says, how can you sell them to the unsuspecting customer? You're not allowed to a place, a stumbling block in front of a blind man. You're not allowed to trip somebody up. Why would you sell a dangerous animal to somebody? Mafgarlu, he says, okay, I'll just send them out to the wild and make them hefka. Mafsha says, it's the opposite. You're increasing the likelihood of harm and damage. Okay, I'll just cut off their hooves. You're not allowed to hurt an animal. Okay, I'll kill them. You're destroying something of value. It was sort of an impasse here. So Rebbe was sort of pressuring Pinchas ben Yair, trying to figure out suddenly a little hill, a mountain, miraculously rose between them to sort of absolve Rabbi Pinchas, to protect them from this pressure. Rebbe saw this miraculous phenomenon in honor of Rabbi Pinchas, his guest. He cried and he says, wow, even during their lifetimes, a tzaddik is so well taken care of by Hashem. Certainly, you would expect so after their passing. They're even greater after their passing than during their lifetimes. Tzaddikim are greater after their passing, more than their lifetimes. How do I know Shenemar? They were burying a person. They saw the troop of soldiers and they got scared and they dropped them. They dropped a man in the wrong place, in the kever of Elisha. He didn't belong there. So the man, as soon as he came to contact with Elisha's remains, he was revived. He got up and walked away. And this is in contrast to Elisha during his lifetime when he revived the son of the Shunamis. He had to make all that effort, face to face, mouth to mouth. He was just touch and go. So you see that Tzaddik's force is greater after his death. Who says it was due to Elisha's virtue? Maybe it wasn't really his sort of doing. It was really just a fulfillment of Eliyahu Navi's blessing to Elisha during his lifetime. Where he told him, you'll have twice as much ability than me. I only did it once, you'll revive twice. So once was the son of the Shunamis, and this was the second time. So it wasn't due to Elisha's, after death virtue. It was really just a fulfillment of Eliyahu Navi's bracha. Amar Leis, he says, no, it cannot be so. It cannot be that this was actually the fulfillment. Because if so, Hanin Desanya, the Bryson describing the incident says, the man was just revived for a very short time to get him away from Elisha. Hanin Desanya al Raglav Amar, it said he got up on his feet. Well, basically, he never made it back home. This could not have been the fulfillment of a true Tchias HaMesim bracha. Rather, it was just in the honor of Elisha to get him out of the way. So you see, he had that power just by merely touching him. So what was in fact the fulfillment of that original bracha from Eliyahu Navi to Elisha, that he will have another Tchias HaMesim opportunity? Kedamar of Yochanan, Sheripaid Saras Naaman. Elisha healed Naaman from his leprosy. Shishkul Kameis, because Saras is equated with death. Shneimar, the pasuk regarding Miriam's Saras says, Moshe Rabbeinu tells Hashem, Al Noti Kameis, don't allow it to be like a mace. So Tzaras is equated with death, and Elisha healed Tzaras, so he had that Tchias HaMesim. Then, speaking about these wild donkeys, why there's the pasuk in Bereshis Lamed call them Asher Motzas Hayemim. They're called Yemim because of fear. They instill awe on people. Sheimasam, their fear Mutelas Arbrios is instilled on the population because of their ability to harm. Damar Chanina Miyamai. Throughout my lifetime, he was a medical expert. People will come to him to consult on medical matters. Miyamai. It never happened. Nobody came to consult me. Al Makas Predelavana, after being struck by this wild white donkey, and he survived. It never happened that this thing happened and the person will survive. Really, we find that the victim survives. He didn't mean survive, he meant it would never heal. We see that it does heal. The Chivron Rish Karayu Karmina was speaking about those donkeys that have white hooves. Those are really vicious. Okay, we spoke about Ruchanina. Here comes another statement from Ruchanina. We're going to a different matter. The pasuk says, "Ein oid." There is nothing else, milvade, other than Hashem. There is nothing else. What is it coming to include? We know that Hashem is the only power. Hashem is the only existence. Amar Ruchanina, we find that Hashem enabled, the presence of other seemingly competing forces, competing powers. It's a hurt, evil inclination, Malach HaMavet, the Satan, all kinds of forces of darkness, magic, kishuf, right? Keches HaTumah. But these are merely limited powers, given their whatever limited power they have by Hashem for the time being, to give us a run for our money, to give us that nisayon throughout life. Even kshaf, sorcery, doesn't really have its own independent source of power. It's all emanating from Hashem's will, who willed it so. In which case, if you can rise above that limited field, so to speak, the field of limitations, and rise up and plug into the source of all existence, and truly believe steadfastly, mind and heart, that it's only Hashem and Hashem only that empowers everything, that enlivens everything, then a person can be immune and protected from these powers. In fact, there was a story I heard of this woman who was involved in Kishuv, Davas Kamahadra. She was seeking Lemishkal to get a sampling of the offer of the dirt to say carry beneath the feet of Rabbi Chanina. If you get that, you can access Kishuv and harm the person. Armala, he noticed that she was endeavoring to get. He says, "Be my guest. Feel free to take whatever you want. I'm not affected by your actions." Armala Shkuli, Lemistai Milcha. You're not going to have that ability to access me and harm me. Why? Right? It's only Hashem and Hashem only. So I'm beyond the reach of your evil powers. Really? Rabbi Yechon teaches us, Lama Nikra Shman Kishafim. Why were they called Kishafim? Kishafim is a joint word. Shemakhishin. They oppose, they deny, they contradict. Pamali Shamali, heavenly entourage, meaning they have powers. How can you feel safe in face of Kishuf? Yeah, it's not for everybody. Only for a righteous person who rises above that fray. Shani, Rabbi Chanina, the Nefish's Chus, his Chusim were great. He plugged into the source. In fact, to a certain extent, anybody can do that. There's a famous Skula Neflo. That's how he calls it, Rabbi Chaim Volozhin, Talmud of Vilna Gaon, the Sefer Nefesh HaChaim. It means a Skula Neflo that anybody can tap into. It's called Ein Oid Mavada. Yeah? A person clarifies in his mind and his heart that it's Hashem and Hashem only. He says that everything is from Ratzon Hashem. Everything exists because Hashem wills it so, and it's constantly being enlivened by Hashem's Ratzon. If a person is mindful of that, has it crystal clear that truthfully the only existence is Hashem. Everything else is just, temporary, limited phenomena. That elevates a person beyond the reach of these opposing forces, and he's totally immune to them, totally protected from their effects. In fact, there were many stories. Story about the Brisker Rav, famous story during the war. He was escaping with his sons, and they were going to this border, and he told everybody, listen, Rabbi Yisai, Eid Mabadek, let's remember the school of Reb Chaim Volozhin. Just focus, concentrate on the fact that it's Hashem and Hashem only. That will protect us. And they got to a certain point, and then suddenly there was a commotion, things got complicated, and he turned to his son, he says, is everybody still on it? And one of the sons says, yeah, sorry, I got distracted. He says, back into it, Eid Mabadek. And they again rehashed it and reinforced it. They smoothed right through the border, and they were saved. Einad Mavadi. Okay, Varuch Chanina. Einad Noikev Etzboi Melmata on this topic. One will not bang even his finger down here in this world. Elam Kein Machrizin Elam Elmal, unless there was a declaration upstairs. Chaim Ben Yaakov would be tapping his finger soon. Shenamar Ma'ashem Misader Gever Kunanu V'Adam Ayovim Darka. A person doesn't know where he's going, but Hashem had it all worked out and mapped out. A person who bangs his finger and gets a little bleed, it's meratz, it cleanses him like the blood of an oila, like a carbon. Amarava, begoidelimin, specifically in his right thumb, which comes down with a force. Ubenikav sheni, and the second time around, the reopening of a wound, that's really powerful, painful. Vudu gadol mitzvah. And the third condition is that he's on his way to a mitzvah. Hashem gives him that special bonus, cleanses him through this. Amr of Al Rav Pinchas ben Yair. Okay, back to Rav Pinchas ben Yair, who was known to decline imitations. They said like this: Amiyamav, throughout his lifetime, Lo Yibotza Al Prusa Shen Shalom, he would never have bread which didn't belong to him. And furthermore, even from his father, he wouldn't take, because his father was Talmud Chacham. He didn't want to take advantage. From when he matured, Lo Yinedim Selasav, he wouldn't even take food from his father. Rather, he would seek his own sources of livelihood directly from Hashem, from Eid Mavadi. Okay, we elaborate on the story of the Meiser, of the leaf, of the Beis Sha'an story, and we substantiated that whole story and the proof that emanated from it. And then we went on to the story of the Chamor, famous Heilige Chamor of Pinchas ben Yair, who would only eat kosher foods. And we had the interchange between Rebbe and Pinchas ben Yair. We saw about the greatness of Tzadikim Lachar Misa, and the greatness of Rav Chanina, who was totally not submitting to any power. And in fact, that protected him from the lady who was doing kishuf, which is something really we could all tap into. Be'ez Hashem, Suras Tevis, Atzlacha Rabbah.